What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Today we are back on the Supra. We are going to be installing new FTP charge pipe and an intake pipe on the 2020 Supra. So we have something nobody else has. Red charge pipes in stock, by the way. Some people have asked, well, why would you get different charge pipes? What's wrong with the ones that are on the car? Well, couple reasons. These are plastic from the factory. The FTP ones are actually aluminum. FTP has been around for approximately 30 years. They've been doing this a long time. They mainly focus in BMW. And since, you know, this is a BMW, they make parts for the Supra. So a lot of problems with older BMWs is these pipes crack due to heat, due to pressure. So if you plan on getting a tune and turning the boost up, these are 100% things that you want to do. They also add throttle response. This is actually a larger diameter and there's no kinks in this. So once we get it all off, I'll show you the difference in between these and the stock one. Don't forget there's a link below to these charge pipes with some more information on our website. Also, stay tuned to the end. I have a small little giveaway for you guys. So we are currently the only people that have these red pipes in stock. We have a limited run, so make sure you get them while they last. So this is a pretty simple install. It doesn't take a whole bunch of tools and takes about an hour. I'll show you the tools we need and we'll go ahead and put these in the car. First step, if you're familiar with our videos, is go ahead and get the engine cover off. We're gonna go ahead and get the air box removed. So there's this tab right here and you just push directly on the back and then go up, and then that little tab right here releases. And then you just go ahead and push this tab straight down and pull up, and then that's separated. Then we have a flathead right here. I'm gonna go ahead and loosen because this is gonna have to separate from that. And we have 4 clips. There's one here, one back here, and one right here in the front. Lift this up, pull the intake tube off, pull your filter, then pull the actual air box. And on the bottom here, there is some grommets. So we're gonna go ahead and remove the grommets right now so we don't forget. We're gonna make this easy on ourselves. So there's this little lip here. You just pull it away from the lip and it pops right off. And then this one you just pull straight up and it pops right off. All right, and your grommets go right in these areas here. Make sure to get them all the way in there. And then this one has this little divot. Goes in here and under that plastic piece. And while we're down here, we're going to go ahead and pull the one off of the intake. Same idea, just go ahead and wrap it around. Once it's released, go ahead and clip that off. Pulls that wire out of the way. The intake tube will pop off. Just wiggle it and she will come out of there. So right here, there's a little nipple and here is the plastic clip that holds it on. All you have to do is just squeeze right here and it slides right off. It's held on by a little clip. And here's your turbo. So as you can see here, there is this little clip. All you have to do is just pull it out and twist, and you can see that it is now off of there. Just go ahead and pull it out. This right down here is what the lower part comes off of. It just slides off. You have to, obviously, like I showed you earlier, remove this clip before it slides off. And so inside the intake tube, you notice there's this whole tube will narrow down. Some little nubs inside here. All right, we have a little sensor here. We just give a little flip up and then grab it with our fingers, press, and it slides right off. I'm gonna take our T27, take that off. Screws are a little long. and pop up on that and then squeeze and pull that off. And I've been told that these are a little bit of a pain to get off. So go ahead and make that loose. So we have our clips out. Now I'll go ahead and get this out. You're gonna twist it all the way around and get it past your radiator hose on the bottom. And then you have this little clip that's always in the way. It's actually not even doing anything. Just another twist. And there's this hose right here. You just move it around it. Be very careful. And there she is. That's simple. All right, so as you see here, we got our wrinkle black, our gloss red FTP charge pipes. And we also have the stock charge pipe. So one thing you're gonna notice about this is it's all deformed and just weird shaped. It's plastic, has this extra clip that no one really understands why is there. There's nothing that goes there. And yeah, it's just not that nice. There's also 2 sensors here. We're gonna go ahead and remove those and put it on our red charge pipe because we're gonna install the red ones today. There's also a O-ring here that you're gonna wanna remove and install on there as well. On the inside, there's an O-ring that goes to the turbo, and the FTP supplies that ring. So as you can see, these are some very quality pipes. And we have the factory intake tube to the airbox. It has an O-ring on the inside where it clips to the turbo. It is flexible. And we have our black and red intake tube. Has a port for the tube on the actual intake. There is on the inside the rubber O-ring on this as well. Same with the red. And this is just a lot smoother of a flow, so it's gonna give you that extra nice little throttle response. So we're gonna wanna take a little flathead screwdriver and pop the O-ring off. Then a T25 to go ahead and get the sensor off. Since we're not gonna be reusing this tube, go ahead and put the T25 back in the pipe, just in case you ever wanna go back to stock or so you don't lose those. And then we're gonna go ahead and grab some pliers and get that sensor off. Just go ahead and nicely grab this and just give it a little twist. And once you get it loose, you should be able to just pull it off by hand, unthread it by hand. And then we can go ahead and put this aside. A little tip for you guys is there's a lot of O-rings here. And I have a little bit of white lithium. Just gonna put a tiny bit on the rag. Go ahead and put a little bit on the O-ring. You don't want this to get inside the sensor. You just want it a little bit on the O-ring so it will slide in and out. This is just like super light coat. Go ahead and put the O-ring on here, and we're gonna go ahead and put a little bit of grease on this O-ring. Then inside of this part of the charge pipe, I'm gonna do the same thing, and the same on the intake pipe. Reason for that is it makes it slide into place a lot easier. So now we're gonna go ahead and install the temperature sensor. Go ahead and thread her on in, get it tight by hand. And take our pliers and very carefully give it just a little bit of a turn. And this is a 5mm, so we're just gonna go ahead and loosen that. Put our sensor in here. Be very careful of the O-ring, and it fits straight on. Go ahead and thread in your Allen, your hex. And this, again, nothing crazy, just a little snug, and you're good. These pipes are ready to go in the car. All right, so I'm gonna put this in first. So you're gonna twist it in and then rotate it around and bring it all the way down. Just go ahead and push and it pops into place. Now this is loose and able to be moved around. Then we're gonna go ahead and we're not gonna tighten these completely, but we're gonna get them in place. So if you want the FTP Motorsports logo to line up, you're gonna wanna get this a little bit offset of this nipple here, and then this lower one's gonna be completely loose. This one's just gonna be snug, so it just holds itself in place. And you want these in this area so you can access and tighten them once it's on. And get the sensors underneath here. And you give it a little bit of force as you're going on. Make sure this hose clamp is pretty loose. As you're pushing it on, make sure this upper piece is lined up. All right, now she's all on there, and we can go ahead and tighten the hose clamp on. All right, make sure this is in the right spot, and we're not going to tighten it all the way, we're just getting it snug. And we're going to go ahead and thread in our throttle body bolts. And we're not going to get it tight, we're just going to get it in place. The reason for not getting it all tight is because we want to make sure everything is where it needs to be. Like this needs to be moved over here, this needs to be clipped in, this can go ahead and clip in. Just make sure everything is in its right position, and we can go ahead and now tighten both of our hose clamps. And remember, these are hose clamps, so you don't have to go crazy tight on them. So one cool thing FTP did was they put in 2 spots where you can add sensors or a bunch of different things you can add into these little port spots. So the charge pipe is now in place. Now let's move along to installing the intake. So if you've gotten this far, everything's gonna go back together for the most part, just the same way you pulled it out. So let's go ahead and put the intake tube in. So we're gonna go ahead and install this in here now. And this goes ahead and go on the intake. Just push her on and make sure this clips and she's in place, and install the hose until it clips. Now we're going to keep this kind of a little bit more out of the way. Now you remember these grommets, they're in place because it makes this air box easier to install now. Now be careful, this heat shield, it is sharp, so are these little clips. So we're going to go ahead and feed this in this way, and then we're going to push straight down. Make sure the clips are pushed back. We can go ahead and install our air filter. Depending on the mileage you have, this would be a good time to install a K&N, an HKS, or anything of the sort. We actually have a video right up here. We're gonna go ahead and put our coupler on that comes with the kit. We go ahead and tighten this so it's just snug and not moving like that. Same with this one. We're gonna get this on there. Go ahead and put this on. That one you don't have to have tight right now. Just make sure it doesn't fall down. Now we're gonna take our air box and slide it on here. And then now we can get the hose clamp a little bit snug and in place. Make sure it's bottomed out in the coupler. We can go ahead and tighten that one. So I want to make sure it gets in the right spot. And then once you got it in place, go ahead and push the air box down, clip it in the spot in the 4 clips. Get the lower hose clamp tightened down, all nice and tight. And we're going to go ahead and plug in our connector. Make sure that's pushed down. Go ahead and tighten these. Just get it snug. You don't have to go crazy on this. Putting steel in aluminum, so you got to be very careful. All right, now we go ahead and install our engine cover. All right, As you can see, didn't take very long. And if you follow the steps on how to remove the pipe itself, it'll make it way easier for you guys. So I would say it takes just under an hour if you're very familiar with your car already. So that's how you install the charge pipe and the intake pipe from FTP. So I talked about a giveaway at the beginning of this video. You have to be subscribed and go ahead and leave a comment of your invoice number from today forward for the first 5 people that do that have ordered a FTP intake or charge pipe kit. We're gonna go ahead and send you a couple of extra things in your box just as a thank you. So thank you very much. Make sure you hit the like, it does help. Subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.